Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss about the Chef workstation configuration and how to bootstrap a node once you have your workstation configured properly in Chef. So there are a couple of prerequisites before we go ahead. I'm assuming that you already have a working Chef server installed for yourself. You can either install a Chef server or you can create an account on your hosted Chef account. So in my case, I have a hosted Chef account, so which will I'll log into with the help of this command manage.chef.io. And once I log in, it's taking some time. So once I log in, I already have this server configured. And if I click on my correct organization, I already have a couple of nodes bootstrapped, right? So what are the things needed for setting up a workstation, right? So workstation setup prerequisites. So first one, local chef server installed, or hosted chef account. Okay. Now, apart from the fact that this chef server is installed locally and you are going to manage it, and hosted chef account is something, it's more like chef server as a service given by the chef folks, there is no difference. The other difference which will be that in order to access your chef server, just a second. Yeah, in order to access your chef server, if it is a hosted account, you go to either manage.chef.io or you can use api.chef.io. However, if it is your local chef server, then you will put the IP address of that chef server and prefixed by HTTPS, because chef server is accessible only on port 443 and not on port 80. So apart from that, there is no other difference if you're talking about the chef server configuration on a local chef or on a hosted chef, right? At least from our lab perspective or from our learning perspective, there is no difference at all. The kind of screen which you're looking at it now, it's exactly same screen you get for your local chef server as well. There might be differences because of the chef versions. That is something else. Probably chef 11 screen or chef 12 screen differ a little bit here and there. But other than that, there is no difference in terms of hosted chef and local chef. So you have a chef server installed. That is the first prerequisite. You already have it. And you are able to access it via a web GUI, which I have done. The second thing is starter kit. Now, this starter kit is, again, you get from your account. And if you click on administration tab, click on your correct organization. And if you click on starter kit, this is where you can download it. Okay. This will give you basically two things, which are, it provides you with, first thing is knife.rb file. And the second thing is user.pem file. These two files are very important when you want to access, when your chef workstation connects to the chef server. These two files are very important, which you need to have. Now, once that is there, the next thing is chef development kit, or chef DK, also known as, right? So chef DK, again, where you get it is very simple. You come to your page called downloads.chef.io. In here, as you can see, you have this section for chef development kit. If you click on this, it will take you to the link. And as you can see, you can install a chef's workstation on a Debian-based machines, Red Hat, Mac, SUSE, Ubuntu, and Windows. And if you go through the list, you will find that only Windows machines gives you a 32-bit workstation option. Any other machine, whether it is a Mac or a Linux, it does not give you option for a 32-bit machine. So your workstation has to be a 64-bit machine if you're doing it on a Windows, on a Linux or on a Mac machine. If you have a Windows machine, it supports both 32-bit and 64-bit, right? So now let's take a look. What do I have here? I have these two machines. This is the workstation. As of now, I have just created this host with this host name, Chef Workstation, and this is my IP address. I have given a static IP, but this is a private IP in my machine. So this machine I'm going to configure as a Chef Workstation. And once that is successful, I'm going to bootstrap this node, which is known as test node. This is the hosting for this node. This test node I'm going to configure, I'm going to bootstrap through my workstation, right? So with that, let's get started. First thing what I have done is I have, for the sake of convenience, I have already copied my starter kit. I have actually downloaded it and I have kept it in my Vagrant folder. So this is the starter kit I was talking about, right? For the people who are familiar with Vagrant, actually it's pretty simple and straightforward thing to do. I just need to go to my machine and I just need to, copy this thing on my same folder on which I have this Vagrant file. For the people who are not aware, it's just that you need to copy this onto the Chef Workstation on the machine which you're going to configure as the Chef Workstation, right? So Vagrant gives me this ability with the help of synced folders. If you're using AWS or some other mechanism, probably VirtualBox, then you have to find some way to copy it onto your machines. And most of these virtualization platforms gives you this option of synced folders. So, okay, so it's got, because of double click, it got unzipped also. So if I go inside, Chef repo, so I'm inside now, Chef repo. If I do a ls -al, I will be able to see this .chef folder as well. This is the folder which contains my knife.rb and my user id.pem file. These are the two files which are needed when you're going to, from the workstation, when you're going to talk to your Chef server. These two files are mandatory. Earlier, we used to have another file called org-validator.pem, but that is no longer required. There were some security concerns over this file, and if it was very easy, if somebody gets hold of this file, it was very straightforward and very easy to compromise on your infrastructure. So that is the reason Chef has got rid of that file, and that is no longer needed. Earlier, that was one of the files which was needed to configure and bootstrap configure your workstation, then bootstrap your machines. So these are two files I have already copied on my machine. But as of now, as you know, there is a knife utility which you need to install on your. Looks like knife is already configured on my machine. That's great. Okay, so but again, let me just show you the process. It's pretty straightforward. What you need to do is this one is. Okay, one of the things which you need to remember is when you're working with Chef Workstation, your location is very important. When you're working with knife commands, you need to be inside this Chef repository folder. Okay, because what happens, this same folder contains your, if I do a ls -al, this .chef folder, right? And this .chef folder contains your knife.rb and user.pem files, which are needed at the time of connecting to the Chef server. So if you go to any other location, if I do it from now, let me show you that. If I do a knife, I'll just check node list. Okay, this is one of the basic commands to check if your workstation is configured and working properly or not. So in my case, it is giving me some results. So that means it is able to talk to the Chef server, right? Now, if I come back, if I do a cd dot, so currently I'm inside .vagrant folder. I'm not inside my Chef repository. If I give the same command, knife node list, it tells me that I'm not able to connect to the chef server, because it is not able to find that client.pem file. It is not able to find, not client.pem, that's actually message is kind of not exactly very clear. But funda is very simple. It is not able to find my knife.rb file, which is the most important one, because knife.rb file contains, if I show you the content, uh, if I go inside chef repo dot chef, and if I show you the content of knife.rb, why this file is important, let's understand that. If you see here on my screen, it tells you the node name. It tells me the client key location, which is sk12k.pem, right? This is the user pem file I have. It contains the chef server URL. In my case, it is showing api.chef.io because I'm using a hosted chef instance. If you're using a local chef, which means you have a server installed locally, so instead of api.chef.io, you will have the domain name of the server. Let me just show that again. Yeah, you will have the domain name or the full FQDN or the IP address of the server listed over here, right? And the last point, it talks about where exactly your default cookbook path, where it should be saved, those things, right? So this is the reason your knife.rb file is very important. If you don't have this, you will not be able to communicate to the chef server, right? So only two things needed. So as I said, once you have the knife.rb, or let me just write that out. So with starter kit, we get knife.rb and user.pem. You just need to copy from the organization and then unzip it to your local workstation. And wherever you unzip it, you get the chef-repo. So just remember, whenever you're running a knife command, you need to be inside your chef repository, right? That is the kind of a mandatory requirement. It will not be identified from any other places. Knife command will be identified, but knife.rb file, since it is not able to read it, it will give you an error message. Now, Chef DK, in my case, it is pre-installed. So, but let me just show you the location and how you can do that. So in my case, if I come here, this is the place. And if I scroll down, CentOS, as you know, this is a RHEL's open source version, or maybe free version, you can call that. So based on my machine, let me just check. If I do this, so EL6, if you see here, EL6 it is, and it is a 64-bit. Same thing I can confirm with this command as well, right? It gives me that it is a 64-bit machine and it is a EL6. So that means that's enterprise Linux for our Red Hat. So any command, any package which is there for Red Hat will work for this machine as well. So basically, I need to copy this location. This is for RHEL6. If it was RHEL7 or CentOS 7, then I had to use this one, right? And as you remember, in Linux, we don't have any 32-bit option. So let's copy this out. And let's go to the temp folder. You just run this command, okay? I'm not going to run this because it's going to take unnecessary time to download, but once you run this command, you will have the package available to you. It will be there for you to use. Once it is downloaded, the only next command which you need to run is rpm -uvh and then the package name. So this whole thing. Typically, the package name will be this one, right? So let me just copy this and give you the exact command. This command which you're supposed to run. It will take a minute or two, and it will install Chef DK on your machine. And once that is done, Chef DK will be, the knife command will be identified for you, because knife is a part of Chef development kit. Once that is done, you have the Chef workstation ready for you, as we saw already. Let me just come out of this and so as you remember, from here, knife command will not work. If I do a knife node list, it is not working. Knife cookbook list, knife role list, I can check with any command, it's not going to work, right? So I have to go to the location where I have my chef repository placed, which is this. Now if I run the same command, right? So as you can see, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Now I have my workstation configured. I can see that it is talking to my chef server. The next thing what I need to do is what I want to do is I want to bootstrap a new node, which is known as test node here. And what I want to do is I want to bootstrap this node onto my, to my chef server, right? So first of all, let me just take a look. Chef manager, if you see, I have existing couple of nodes. So I can see there are 3 nodes available already in my infrastructure. I'm going to bootstrap the 4th node. So what I need to do is, first of all, I need to get the command. So the command is again pretty straightforward. Bootstrap a node. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to use this command called knife bootstrap fqdn user p password my node. This is the syntax. So knife space bootstrap space fqdn of the server which you're going to bootstrap. So this can be your IP address as well as your fully qualified domain name. In our case, we'll stick to the IP address because it's a lab environment and we don't have a DNS published fully qualified domain names. -x stands for the username. So -x space whatever username you have on your machine, minus capital P the password. Just remember that this username and password combination is the one which is existing on your machine, which you're trying to bootstrap. So for example, in my case, I'm going to bootstrap this machine, test node. So this machine contains the ID and the password, which I'm going to use, right? That is one thing. The second thing is it needs to have sudo privileges because I'm using this minus sudo at the end. Because as part of the bootstrapping process, Chef will go ahead and install Chef client on the machine. It will create a client.pem file. It has a list of things to do. And for most of these things, it requires admin privileges. So if it is a Linux machine, which you're trying to bootstrap, you need to have sudo privileges. If it is a Windows machine, you need to make sure that the username and password combination which you're trying to use has got administrator privileges, local admin privileges, I mean by that. Okay. So this is the command we are going to use. In our case, let's just check out. So let's first get the IP address. So I can just copy this one. So knife bootstrap -x. Now in my case, this is a Vagrant machine. So as you can see here, I have a username called Vagrant. And in my case, actually, in Vagrant, even the password is also Vagrant by default. If you want to change it, you can do that. So Vagrant is a username minus capital P. Vagrant is a password minus node name. I'll provide this node name as test node for the sake of simplicity. And at the end, sudo. So this is all I need. I have the command ready to be run. I can simply copy this. And I can come to my workstation now. And I can paste this command. And I hit enter. So it gives you a couple of messages on a screen. If you see here, it is trying to install .sh script, trying to do a wget. So what exactly it does is it downloads the Chef client utility from the same location. If you see here, we have this packages.chef.io. So basically, while that is going on, let me just explain you what exactly is happening at the backend. If you come to downloads.chef.io, and if you go back, Chef client, right? So this is the utility which it is trying to download. In my case, I think even the node which I'm trying to bootstrap is a CentOS node. Let me just check. Yes, but the only difference is this is EL7. So this is CentOS 7 node. Okay. If I now go here, so I believe this is going to download this package, the first one, because the node also is a 64-bit architecture, right? Okay. Now, one thing to remember is that in case of Workstation, if you remember, we did not have an option of 32 bits, right? We only had 64-bit workstation option in case of Linux and Mac. But in this case, if you see here, we have options. In some cases, we do have options of 32-bit as well. If you see, Debian 8 gives you that option. Debian 7 gives you that option. RHEL 7 does not have that option. However, RHEL 6 gives you this 32-bit option, as well as RHEL 5. So that's like a lot more options compared to Chef Workstation. Right. So yeah, let's just take a look what exactly is going on. So if I come back to my workstation, looks like things have done and nothing is green. So probably my chef run has been successful. How I can confirm that? I can simply do a knife node list. Before that, let me just clear the screen. So if I do knife node list, I will be able to see, and yes, without any surprise, I can see it here, test node. Same thing, if I go to my Chef GUI, as of now, it is not visible. However, the moment if I refresh it, I should be able to see this. As you can see here, the first one is here. So it gives you the platform, gives you the FQDN. This you need not worry. This is since I'm using a vagrant machine and I have eth0 and eth1 for all of them configured. The IP which I have used for bootstrapping, that is eth1. And the IP which is shown over here is eth0. So with a little bit of tweaking, actually, you can manage and you can show the exact IP over here as well. In your enterprise environments, you will get to see the actual IP, not this dummy IP. Vagrant by default assigns this dummy IP to all of the new machines created. Right, so your node, you have configured a Chef workstation and you have bootstrapped a new node into your Chef ecosystem. Now you can write recipes and assign recipes to this node and you can work with it just like any other Chef node. So that's it for now. And thank you for watching. I hope you have an informative session. Good luck and goodbye.